Welcome and karibuni to Aroma of Zanzibar. Today I'm going to share with you how I make my boko boko. For boko boko, I have got 1.5 cups of cracked wheat that I have soaked for 2 hours, and I've got some chicken. You can use mutton or you can use beef as well. Now the cracked wheat that I like to use for this recipe is number 3, which is coarse. They have number 2, which is medium, and number 1, which is fine, but I prefer to use number 3. You can also use whole wheat, or you can use barley, but make sure that you soak it overnight. The rest of my ingredients, I've got some fresh garlic. I also have some cinnamon sticks, and I'll be using some cardamom as well, some fresh ginger, and I'm using 1 magi cube. You can use 2 if you want. I'm just trying to control the salt over here. And I'll be using 1 whole onion, as well as some ghee, which is clarified butter. Now for the chicken, I like to use leg and thigh because, you get the maximum out of the flavors of the chicken. And I like bones in my boko boko. So if you're concerned about the bones, you can go ahead and use chicken breast. Sometimes I like to use full chicken as well. So make sure that you have a big pot for this. So I'm just dumping all my ingredients in here. And as far as the seasoning is concerned, I like to keep it very simple and basic. I know some people like to use the pilau masala. Some people like to use cumin seeds. I just like to keep it simple. Now my cracked wheat, after I drained the water, I had soaked 1.5 cups. So it has obviously multiplied. And I have 3 cups now. So as far as the liquid is concerned, now this recipe, as far as the measurements are concerned, I've got this from my brother. He's the king of boko boko, but the cooking style is mine. So it's between 5 to 6 cups. I did 6 cups straight away because I like mine very soft and light. Because, once it sets, it does firm up and, become a little bit heavier. So, but if it's your first time that you're making this, then you may want to start with 4 or 5 cups and then later on add another one if you're comfortable. All right, so I brought that to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, I'm just removing the frost here. I don't know, I just don't like it. I mean, it's nothing wrong, it's not poisonous, but for some reason I just don't like it in there. Okay, so after I've done with that, I put the heat on really, really low and covered it for about 1 hour. Let it cook for about 1 hour. Now, after 1 hour, this is what I have. My chicken is almost off the bone. Now, if you're going to be using mutton or beef, you may need to pressure cook it first and then later on cook it with the wheat. Okay? As you can see, and if you want to remove the bones at this point, you can remove them. I'm just removing some, but I like it with bones. And also remove the seasoning, the spices if you don't want them. And then I cover it again. And now I raise my heat to medium-low and cook it for another hour. So in the meantime, I'm going to start with the sauce. I've got about 6 dates here and some dry tamarind. It looks like this. You can use fresh tamarind if you have. Some sugar and some raisins. And I soaked the dates in warm water for about 15 minutes with a pinch of baking soda so that it softens easily and faster. And for the tamarind, I did not add the baking soda, just warm water. Now there's one more ingredient that is optional on this sauce. It's called torshe. Another ingredient is gizzards, chicken gizzards. We use chicken gizzards. You cook them separately and then you mash them together with the sauce while it's cooking. It's optional. The sauce is also optional, but I like it. It kind of balances that meal with a sweet and sour sauce. Okay, so I'm just going to drain my tamarind. You can get a tamarind sauce or paste from the Indian stores. That works fine as well. So we're just going to dump everything in the pot, and I'm using about 2 tablespoons of the tamarind sauce. And the raisins, about a tablespoon, and sugar, about a tablespoon. And a quarter cup of water. And then we're just going to bring this to a boil. And once it comes to a boil, I reduce the heat. And I just mash it with a fork. You know, this is just a thick sauce. It's not smooth and silky. It's just thick and lumpy, whatever you may want to call it. And if you're going to be using the gizzards, you may add them at this point. All right, so now we're going to check on our boko boko and see how it's coming along. So after 1 hour of medium heat, this is what we have. It's almost coming together, as you can see. And then after this, what I did was I remove the cover and I cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes on low heat without the cover. So this is what you get after about 15 minutes. Now, this is also called, the Pakistanis have the same thing, which is very spicy. They call it Haleem. It's also called Hareesa or Harees. Different types, different cultures call it different ways. Now I'm ready to add the ghee. I just added 1 tablespoon of ghee, and you just want to stir it very well. Now, usually we have this for lunch or dinner during normal days, but on Eid we have this for breakfast, and most of the time it's made with a whole wheat, and the men are the ones who do this job. You know, they do this job of stirring because, you know, it's a lot, so it's you really need some muscles, or maybe you're going to build some muscles just making boko boko. Then I go ahead and add another tablespoon of ghee. I'm just going to stir it again, and then I just let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes on low heat until you see that it starts to separate itself from the sides. Then I'm going to make the onions. The onions are the last part of my boko boko because I'm frying this in ghee, and I like to serve hot ghee with the boko boko. So I always keep it to the last, okay? And you just, this is optional. And you just want to make this golden brown, crispy. You don't want them, you know, very dark, otherwise they become too bitter. So that's about it for boko boko, and we are ready to serve. So this is it. It's kind of soft and light, but it's also firm, as you can see. And thank you very much. For more recipes, please visit me at Aroma of Zanzibar. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up. And if you don't like, please give me a thumbs down too, so that way I know where I can improve. And please, you're welcome to share this recipe with your friends and family. And enjoy the boko boko. And please do visit me again. Thank you.